those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're going to get to the other stuff in a minute, but what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, I guess it ain't nothing else left to do. Bye. See, it's about that time for you to open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind one time. You tuned in with the coolest motherfucker in the whole cosmos, man. I am your guy. Next stop, Uranus. Be advised though, that you just might be in for a cosmic kick in the ass. As those fingers stroke the heartstrings chaotically. Thus goes the mind when you're dealing with Uranus. Welcome to the place where your brain moves at breakneck speeds. Just smile. Just smile. Cause I am the smile on your face. I am that Jones in your bones. I am that part of you that just wants to get to know you better. Welcome to my galaxy. What it was, y'all. Y'all already know who it is. And if not, I can't tell you. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Yourself. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And before I go any further, I'm just going to get it out of the way and explain that, yes, this is a video that I've already done before. But for some reason, one of the samples in the beat I used at the beginning of the video got flagged and had a copyright claim put on it. And instead of just chopping that off, I said, fuck that. I need all mine. So we're going to redo this motherfucker. And we're going to make sure we do it superbly. Because this right here, this a little something about those people that have Uranus in the 3rd house of their natal chart. And this is extremely relevant because I have Uranus in the 3rd house of my natal chart. So you're going to get some firsthand experience with this shit right here. And before we go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you a little bit about Uranus. I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown of the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about what the 3rd house of the astrological chart is actually all about. Then after that, we're going to bring it to a culmination, a crescendo, and eventually a climax. And fortunately for you, that's my forte. So without wasting any more time, let's get this thing cracking. So Uranus, Man, for me, this is like the cosmic alarm clock and shit. And that's because big shocks and surprises are usually going to be in store wherever it shows up in the natal chart. And it's the planet of triggering events and breakthroughs that we don't expect. And as the higher octave of Mercury, it also really relates to the genius streak of the mind. So when you're talking to astrologers, most of them are going to refer to Uranus as the awakener because of all the shocks and changes that the transits and aspects really bring about with this motherfucker right here. Like this motherfucker right here will disrupt your world, bro. And it, along with Saturn, it also co-rules the sign of Aquarius in the 11th house of the astrological chart. So it can also really bring brilliant innovation and sudden upheaval, which is sometimes just a necessary break from the norm, bro. For real, man. And so when we're talking about the sign placement of Uranus, this is not going to be as important as the house placement because it stays in a sign for about 7 years at a time. So it's kind of considered generational in that aspect, which means that it's going to come across similarly for all those people that are born under that place. Now, when we talk about the house placement, that's where shit gets personal. And you already know around here, we like to get personal, for real. And so when we're talking about the house placement right here, man, this is going to show where our brilliance lies. This is going to show the areas of life that is most prone to sudden flashes of genius and crazy upheavals. And, you know, it's also where we're just different. You feel me? And the aspects, hey, that's where shit gets interesting with this one, because this is where you might be in for some cosmic surprises. For instance, maybe you're stuck in a job that you fucking can't stand that's not a part of your spiritual path anyway. Hey, Uranus will get you fired from that bitch. Or better yet, Uranus will tank the company or burn that bitch down. Yeah, it's like that, man. And lastly, I want you to remember that at around age 40, that's when transit Uranus opposes your natal Uranus. And that kind of coincides at the same time with that midlife crisis that a lot of people talk about. And really for me, that just tells me that's when people are trying to break free from the shackles that have kept them from fulfilling their true destiny. So my motto with Uranus is always stay woke or get woke the fuck up. You feel me? So when we're talking about the third house, this one is ruled by Mercury and Gemini, and it highly symbolizes our thinking and communication style. And it also rules over writing, short trips, our younger siblings, as well as pretty much our whole early childhood environment. And, you know, I also say that the third house kind of rules over whatever powers of analysis and discrimination that we might possess. And I always tell people that planets in the third house kind of indicate how you communicate and how you operate mentally, or it just speaks to how you process and disseminate information. All right. So when we're taking Uranus and we putting Uranus in the third house. Yeah. Hey, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. The first thing to know about this one right here, man, is this is actually one of the best places for Uranus. Because, as I said earlier, Mercury rules the third house. And Uranus is just a higher octave of Mercury. So, I don't want to toot my own horn. But this one right here, this is sheer brilliance. And I mean that. And these motherfuckers with this one, like myself, we kind of possess the ability to take the cosmos and knowledge about life and the universe way far beyond its present state and into amazing new levels of insight right here, man. And, you know, this placement right here, it also suggests an extremely unique way of thinking that really expresses itself in everything that these people do, especially in how we talk and communicate. I mean, hey. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. But yeah, this is one of my favorite placements of my own in my chart, man. Because with a third house Uranus, you could really expect high intelligence, strong critical thinking skills, eccentric thoughts, a wide range of interests, as well as probably you might even see some trouble with some siblings and schoolmates, because people with this placement kind of often feel misunderstood. But at the same time, they're also extremely bright people. Here. Even genius in most cases, man. I mean, if you look at Albert Einstein's chart, hey, you're going to see Uranus sitting right there in the third house. Yeah. And if you want to look even further, these folks like this, with this placement, like they're extremely free thinkers that always want to question the shit that other people kind of so easily accept as true. And, you know, that can kind of lead to issues because a lot of motherfuckers are always going to feel threatened by somebody who kind of thinks differently than them and somebody who's always constantly challenging the status quo. And I know this firsthand, man. And when you have Uranus in the third house, man, you just think differently than everybody around you, which can be both enlightening and isolating at the same time, which is kind of just what life is for people with this placement right here. I mean, and, you know, it's really a trip because this what makes a person a very rapid thinker that really, you know, usually is one of the most intelligent people in any room that they're in. And it's the thing is that their brain works differently. It works by intuition. And when I say intuition, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily psychic. What I mean is you notice patterns, man. And what I mean by noticing pattern is you're able to see patterns in energy or in the way that things have formulated before, and you're able to recognize them off the rip quickly, and you're able to understand, no, this is what's going down. Now I see. You get what I'm saying? And your brain just moves more quickly than most people and a little bit differently than people. And it just makes connections like that. I mean, like that. And you know, the thing is, when people with this placement were in school, a lot of them were probably testing extremely well, but they might have not done so well with schoolwork or book work because they have to show their work. And they're not so great at formulating things in a line and showing things, you know, how they work out structurally because their brain doesn't work like that. You know, it might seem like they're all over the place, but it's actually sheer brilliance. They're able to see patterns in things and they're able to notice things and subtleties in things and they're able to put things together in a way that really puts them ahead of the curve mentally. You see? Hey, like I said, it's the patterns, man. It's the patterns, man. And, you know, I also say that sometimes when you got Uranus in the third house, you know, people who aren't intellectually as gifted as you, you know, or people who can't keep up with you mentally, they can kind of, you know, aggravate you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that you're going to be mean or rude to them. It's just like, you kind of expect everybody to get things the way that you do because you get things so clearly and so easily a lot of the times. Like you just understand things because of that intuition, because of the patterns that you notice. You just understand the way things work naturally. You understand? And because of that, your brain is able to cut through a lot of the red tape and get right to the important shit because, hey, you understand what's going down. Now let's solve the problem. Okay? And that right there is kind of a superpower in itself, man. And I just also say that people with this placement right here, you know, especially if you're a more empathetic person, such as myself, man, like, oh, man, it makes you all the more frustrated in yourself because, you know, you do get frustrated with people. You get frustrated with people. Okay, because you expect things to go a certain way. Okay, mentally, you move extremely quickly from one thing to the next. You don't need a long logical process. That's not how you work. Your brain makes connections and you're able to see through the motherfucking bullshit and get things done. Alright? You just have to understand that, hey, some people aren't going to be able to do things that way. And then that doesn't mean that they're not as intelligent they're not as intelligent as you are. It just means that their brain works differently than yours too. They need a logical process. And in doing that, sometimes they might even be able to catch on to things that you might have missed. Okay? So just understand, with this one, that yes, your brain works extremely quickly. Yes, it works differently than other people, but different doesn't always make you superior to anybody. Even though we are pretty superior. But, another thing I want to say about this one right here is, engaging in small talk with Uranus in the third house it's extremely difficult, man. You're much more interested in abstract theory than you are with bullshit ass gossip or mundane details. Okay? That's just how you go. And with this placement, you're just kind of constantly bombarded with new ideas that aren't necessarily always practical, but they're definitely always original. And with Uranus, the aspects are always going to be of keen importance with this one, because our well aspected Uranus right here can make you a motherfucking genius. But with the more challenging aspects with this one right here, your ideas are often bizarre or shocking or mistimed or ill-conceived. But either way it go, you're the type with Uranus in the third house to have sudden realizations that change your entire mindset. And I also know that, hey, this motherfucker right here will give you a short attention span. And in some cases, ADHD. For real. And that's because it's just harder to focus it's just harder to focus because your synapses fire so fast with this one, man. And it just, your brain works in so many different ways, and your brain might work in a different way today than it worked than it worked yesterday, because of an insight that you had, or because of something that's changed up, or a chemical imbalance in your brain, or anything with this one. Okay? This is a highly changeable nature right here. And, I also want to tell you that when I'm talking about Mercury, or I'm talking about the third house, it also is a big kind of significator of a person's attitude. Okay? And with Uranus in the third house, there's no telling what you can get, because sometimes they're really cool and they just want to be a good friend, but other times you might get somebody whose mind is on a certain track that they ain't got time for bullshit. And if you're in the way, then they're probably going to coldly maneuver around you. That's what it is. And lastly, I just want to let you know that as kids, third house Uranus people probably don't fit in to any particular dynamic necessarily. They were just different from their peers, and they probably felt like nobody understood them. And to be honest, most people didn't understand them. They couldn't. They also have a rough time in the classroom because they grasp it just way quicker than everybody else. Then boom, they have it. And then they're just in that motherfucker, bored in a bitch, while everybody else is going through their process of learning things. Okay? And hey, with Uranus in the third, boredom is like the mortal enemy of this placement right here. Cause that's where the motherfucking mischief ensues. And that's when your ass gets in trouble, man. And you have to learn some outlet with this one, or find some type of way to exercise that mental energy and get that frenetic energy moving in a constructive way with this one. Okay? And I also want to say that a third house Uranus might indicate a lot of quarrels with your siblings, and or, it might mean that you might have got into a lot of fights with your peers in school. Okay? This one right here, man, this is going to maybe even suggest a strange upbringing in some way, with all kinds of weird or eccentric shit going on in the childhood environment. But you'll be all right, because either way it goes, the truth of the matter is, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. And what I mean is, we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. Hey, I appreciate all the love and support, man. If y'all fuck with me on any level, this is the time you should be hitting that like button, bro. For real. Do that. And if you a hater, it's okay to hit the dislike button. But either way it goes, give me some interaction. Me wanting you to hit this like button is not for my ego. It's for the algorithm. You hitting this like button, it lets YouTube know we here. And it helps expand the platform. So, hey, if you ain't about it, help me get out there and help the next motherfucker. Alright? Now, if y'all are interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And that's actually my preference, because if you hit me up in the comments below, I'm just going to direct you to my email. So, hey, y'all keep your play at all times. Y'all keep your trill. Hey, and we back, man. Y'all look out for my series that I'm working on right now. And y'all should be seeing these come out at any time on the natal aspects. And I'm working on the major aspects right now, which really consists more of conjunctions, oppositions, trines, squares, sextiles, quincunxes, or inconjunctions. Okay? So, I love y'all. Keep it trill, right?